Hi, we're here with Ruth Walter, who's running for County Legislator serving Westchester's District 15. Thank you for joining us, Ruth.
Thank you, Susan.
I just want to ask you to give an opening statement to face your constituency and tell them a little bit about yourself.
Okay, great. Thank you, Susan, and thank you to your viewers who are interested in local politics. I'm Ruth Walter, and we are here in beautiful Armavilla, which is part of the East Yonkers part of this district. I am a small business owner. I've been in business for 14 years. I'm also a mother of two young adult children. And this weekend, I'll be married 29 years to a new American, although he's been here for 26 years, my husband, Kevin, who is from Scotland. So we have a real difference in this race between myself and my opponent. And voters understand that it's the policies they're looking for that match their values. My priorities are gun violence prevention, climate mitigation, including flood mitigation, reproductive health, including the Black maternal health crisis, and cybersecurity, because we need a public safety program for the 21st century. And I've been working really hard since February with a terrific team of volunteers and staff who really are getting the message out to voters in this district. The district has changed. It now goes from Warburton on the west side of Yonkers all the way to the town of Eastchester. It's 59,000 residents, 39,000 voters, 17,500 Democrats, 10,500 Republicans, and 9,000 unaffiliated. So if you do the math, my policies, my programs, my experience has better aligned with the majority of voters in this district. So I'm looking forward to November 7th and the victory.
Thank you for that. Could you tell our viewers a little bit about what the county legislator does? What is the role?
Great question, Susan. And a lot of people are not aware of how impactful the county is on their lives. And we first start out with the sewer system. You know, we can't have a building of 2 stories without a sewer system. And Yonkers is where one of the 7 sewer treatment plants is. It takes in almost half of the sewer refuse from the county, and it's incredible the system it does. It's biochemistry, chemistry, physics, and it really does underpin our civilization in order to treat our waste. It needs to be a better neighbor to the Ludlow Park neighborhood. But the other things that the county does is there's certain roads. We're sitting next to Bronx River Parkway, which is a county park as well as a road. We do the community college. We also have an airport, an amusement park, 52 different parks, and it's a fantastic level of government, $2.4 billion, and it primarily, 50% of that is for social services. So it's a big, big government. It needs legislators who are paying attention to the bottom line, to the budget, and it needs people who are really deeply involved in the community.
So what 3 promises could you make to your constituents if you were elected?
Great question, Susan. So as a legislator, I served from 2020 to 2022. I was the chair of the Environment and Health Committee, and I really put a lot of thought into some programs that I'm really eager to get back to, pulling out of the capital budget where I put them. The first is noise cameras. We're sitting here at a pretty active intersection here in Armavilla and Yonkers, and we need to put into place something called a noise camera that will ticket motorists who deliberately modify their mufflers to make those loud sounds, those pop, pop, pop. This is technology that we found, put $125,000 into the capital budget for a pilot. Hasn't been implemented yet, but they are putting these cameras into place in New York City. It's proven, it's reliable, and it will help quality of life. That's one. The second is fast fill water fountains, which I put into the budget, $750,000. We want to make sure people don't feel obligated to take plastic water bottles wherever they go. And we have rivers that are filled with plastic, and we need to reduce our reliance on single-use plastic, and that's a good way to do it. Finally, senior fitness parks. I put $1 million into the county budget because senior citizens were isolated and lonely during COVID at terrible risk of getting sick and of death. So we put $1 million in to put these parks in. The AARP has put them in around the country, and we need them here in Westchester so that senior citizens have a place to go. Those are my 3 top priorities.
That's great. Thank you. What are your thoughts about affordable housing? Do you support having affordable housing in Tuckahoe and Bronxville specifically?
So one of the things we looked at during this conversation about zoning is density. So density is a place where you can live and you can see apartments here within easy access to transit. And we looked at Westchester County, and Westchester County has 11,000 units of housing that it needs. And if you had a factory and you needed a part in order to make your product, you would be stuck if you didn't have that part. So we need those housing units in order to grow and to be a great county. But these specific communities, East Yonkers, Bronxville, Tuckahoe, they have density already. So in Yonkers, it's 11,000 residents per square mile. Bronxville is 6,000 residents per square mile. If you look at a community like Harrison, it's 1,100 residents per square mile. So I would say that Bronxville is actually a terrific example of gentle density, which is not 18-story buildings, but 5, 6-story buildings. And I would urge people who are looking at more housing to look at some of the communities that have train stations but are not as gently developed as Bronxville and Tuckahoe are already.
Thank you. Down the street from where we are now, construction is underway to repair the Bronx River Bridge.
Yes.
That was damaged during Hurricane Ida 2 years ago. What do you think took so long to get to this point? It's been 2 years.
Susan, I mean, it's a great question. I'm not in office right now. I'm not privy to what's going on. But what I do know is that George Latimer and the Democratic administration has been extremely careful about putting into place park improvements. And the prior administration, if people remember, Rob Astorino, had really let a lot of parks go. So you look at Rye Playland, it was really George Latimer and his administration and the legislature that I was on that voted for these improvements, that put investments into our parks that make people enjoy our wonderful beauty and the fun that people can do at Rye Playland. Also, Lenoir Preserve, which is in Yonkers, had a tree growing through the roof. And so that was under the previous administration. I trust that George Latimer's administration will get this bridge finished. And I can't explain why it's taken 2 years. Certainly when I was in office, we made requests to have it fixed and put on the capital budget. But the park system has $250 million in capital projects on the books. So we definitely know that we have projects that are going forward. It's going to be wonderful when that bridge is rebuilt and people can do that circuit around. I know lots of my friends and I go there to enjoy the lake and to really get that exercise. And I'm looking forward to George Latimer and his administration completing the bridge.
Let us know, would you publicly or privately congratulate your opponent if he prevails in this election?
Sure. I think that's a gracious thing to do. And I think people want to see people behave and not use bullying or intimidation tactics. Certainly, I feel like I've been the victim of that, both online and in person. So I think we really want to make sure that people elevate their conversation and stay away from name calling and some of the things that have already happened in this.
Okay, and how about a 30-second closing remark to our viewers?
Well, I'll just put in a plug for the Pondfield Cafe, which has amazing breakfasts and lunches. I love being here. I'm eager to get back to work that I started in 2020. And I'm really happy that there's so many people that are eager to go to the polls and vote. October 28th, definitely on his way. Election day is November 7th, and please look for Ruth on the ballot on the Democratic line and really get everybody out to vote, including your neighbors and your college kids. There's applications you can apply for online that are absentee, and I'm looking forward to being your representative again in District 15 come January 2024. Thanks.
Thank you for your time, Ruth Walter. We appreciate your joining us today.
Thank you, Susan. I enjoyed it very much.